Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're going to dive in straight to the 74 Weld Portal's first oil change. So I've got about 250 miles on the gearboxes, and the instructions say somewhere between 200 and 500 miles. I got to change it closer to the 200 because I got a trip to Florida today. That'll be over 500. So in a cautionary measure, I'm going to change it early instead of going over that 500 miles because I want to protect the gears at all costs. So this video won't be very long, but I'm curious to see what the new fluid looks like, if there's any shavings, the color. Each box only gets 10 ounces, so I'm going to capture it in a clear bottle, and then we're going to refill it, and I'll show you how it's done, and I'll show you that it's just not that big of a deal. As a whole, a lot of people say, oh man, it's, you got to change the oil every 5,000 miles and everything like that, but I don't really see it as a problem because you'll be changing the engine oil every 5,000 if you don't listen to what Toyota says and you wait till 10,000 miles. So I do my oil changes at 5,000 on the engine. I'll change the oil on my gearboxes at 5,000. Be no big deal. So let's get started. Okay, so let's take a look. 74 Weld did a great job of engineering these and making it simple. So this is the fill plug. Like, look, here is the brakes, the portal box. This is the fill plug. And then down here is the drain plug right there. And it's a 6mm hex. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the top off so they can breathe, and then take the oil out and show you what the results are. And also, on a side note, there's the vent hoses. And on the front, it's not easy to see because my hood is down. But let me show you here on the back. Every portal box has a vent hose. So here's a back. And then we routed the catch can back here to the back behind my fuel tank, my auxiliary fuel tank. So we'll pull that down and check it. I'm curious in 200 miles if anything has come up or not. But the boxes get hot and the oil needs to vent just like a differential. So there are breathers on the portal box. So let me go ahead and get the oil out of this front box, and then I'll show you the oil that comes out of each one of them so we can compare if any of the boxes are acting different than the others. All right, so the top bolt's removed, and I took out the bottom bolt right there. And here is the bottle. This is a makeshift bottle, water bottle. And when I filled it up, that should be 10 ounces. I used a measuring cup and water to kind of create the system. So it looks like 10 ounces of oil went down. And I just checked real quick off camera. The catch can for the rear is easier to check, and there's no oil in it. I'm gonna show you that here on camera in a second. But I'm kind of curious of why the box took 10 ounces, but now there's not 10 ounces. So of course I'm gonna refill it to 10 ounces, but that fluid's pretty dark for the first 200 miles, and I don't really see any shavings in it, but we're gonna check the other boxes and see how they look, but it's literally that simple. Okay, so here's the rear catch can. I know I just showed you the front box that it was low on fluid. We'll check the rear here in a second, so I'm going a little bit out of order, but let me see if I can turn on the flash here. All right, so the flash is on. That is bone dry. So I'm curious to see what the rear boxes show. I'll check that in a second and be right back. Oh, check this out. I just realized this when I put the front back. So this is the drain plug off the rear box, and it's just like a regular differential. I had no idea. So that is actually like a little magnet. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. You can literally see all the shavings that were on there. So that is super cool that 74 Weld actually either designed, engineered, or whatever, a drain plug to catch all the shavings. I would say that's a good amount of shavings for a small gearbox, but that's obviously why you're gonna do that break-in period and change the oil in your gearboxes between 200 and 500 miles. So I'll be curious to see after the next 5,000 miles what it looks like. But just wanted to point that out. Super cool attention to detail by 74 Weld to make sure that the drain plug has a magnet on it. The fill plug does not. So let's keep going. Okay, so this is the new oil. It doesn't look great because it's the same bottle, and that's the line. I'm gonna put a little bit more in it than the 10 ounces that I measured just because the fronts did come out lower than the rears, and so I'm not sure why that's the case. Maybe I spilled more on the fronts than in the rears when I was doing it, but I'm gonna go ahead and do all 4 of those, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put the funnel, right there and pour it in the box. And I apologize not getting more B-roll. I just didn't have a tripod that I flew down with from Alaska to Georgia, so I'm doing all this by hand with my phone, but hopefully you're following along with it. And if you're yelling at me in the comments right now for using the same drain bottle, as I do the fill bottle, all the oil's not even coming out of the gearbox anyways. And every time you do an engine oil change, there's still old oil back in the engine. So while it's not the most ideal, I'm working with what I got. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this new oil in that gearbox, work my way around, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, so there you have it. That is how you do an oil change on your 74 Weld portals. It is super simple. If I wasn't filming, it might add 10 to 15 minutes to do all 4 corners here on the 4Runner. It would be the same on a Jeep, Tacoma, Bronco. They're exactly the same gearboxes, especially with the version 2 that they just released. And so I'm super stoked. I'm excited to drive many more thousands of miles and change the oil many more times. And so if you like this content, of course, please hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I got plenty of more content. I got plenty more ideas. I hope that you leave your ideas or questions in the comments. And thank you so much to my patrons. If it wasn't for you guys and believing in the channel, I probably would have quit this a long time ago. But thank you for your support. And if you'd like to be a patron too, please head on over to patreon.com/Tim the Trailman. Your support means a ton to me and my family and this channel. So as always, thank you for watching.